Hey everyone, my name's Phil Padavani with Meridian Games. Today we're going to be going over our first product, which is for Dungeon Crawl Classics role-playing game, Judge Phil's Zine of Goodies Volume 1, which includes two new classes, a slew of spells, some cool new weapons, and a super wild encounter that I don't think anyone's ever seen before, so I'm excited to go over it with you guys, and stay tuned. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get right into it. So this was the first stab and first attempt that I took at making some supplemental content for any role-playing game, specifically Dungeon Crawl Classics. I got into this game pretty much when I moved out into the Nashville area. There was a lot of cool people and a lot of really helpful people in the community over at the GameKeep in Hermitage, Tennessee. That really kind of motivated myself to keep coming, keep playing, and then next thing you knew, I was running games at the GameKeep for Dungeon Crawl Classics. This all kind of stemmed off of a story. One of our players was like kind of keeping a character hot for anyone that came in that was like kind of interested in playing. If they didn't really know what to play or wanted to waste time rolling up a character, we could just give them what we called Wilson, and Wilson can go ahead and just act as that person's character. During one of our missions, or one of our dungeons that we were running, Wilson's brain was swapped with a brainiac fish, the amphibious brain slayer. So I wrote a custom class for him. And then next thing I know, I just kept writing and had a whole bunch of content. So I thought, why not bundle it up in a zine? Since then, we've grown and had a few new additions to the team, which is really awesome. But this is the first volume that is currently out on Drive-Thru RPG, which I will provide a link into the description below if you guys want to support some of the stuff that we do. This first one was done by all by me, but the future ones I'm going to try and have other people included. And, not to give too much away, but the Judge Phil's Zine of Goodies brand is going away because more people are doing it. And I just came up with that name because I didn't know what else to come up with. But we're going to go ahead and get right into it and just go through some of the cool stuff that's in there for you guys. First off, we have the cover. I know the artwork is absolutely fantastic. You can see that I'm like slowly taking strides and trying to get better at drawing with Micron pens. The table of contents, you can see I have that at the beginning of every single one of our products. It just has the classes, the weapons, tables, and then the cool little adventure at the end. So the amphibious brain slayer, essentially he is a amphibious fish with a massive rippled brain and he uses his psychic powers to be the true predator of the deep water depths below. He can only wield one-handed weapons because he's taking one hand and trying to keep his giant brain up at a good position as it starts to make his head tip over X and Y ways. But we've added different kind of unique abilities for an underwater / sub underwater character, and as well as being able to use his own form of brain slay standard attack. Similar to almost like a cantrip in other games that he just, can kind of give people massive headaches and whatnot and deal damage to them that way. Each and every one of our zines that are kind of like this are all pretty similar. I try and use a similar format, and I try to make it kind of align with the core rule book for Dungeon Crawl Classics role-playing game. Additionally, we have a few new spells, i.e. nerve shutdown, kind of something like shutting down an opponent's nerves and having them like have to succeed some form of will save, or suffocate basically. Moving on to that, we also have nerve control, which is kind of similar. It kind of lets you control, while you're not controlling the person's brain, you're kind of controlling the enemy's nerve functions and causing them to do kind of wacky things like swing at one of their allies or any fun, ridiculous stuff. And then finally, there's mind swap, which essentially means that at a certain point you can swap brains and swap consciousness with other allies. And then if you roll super high, for anyone that were ever to roll or have enough spell burn to get a 32 and above, you're able to actually completely swap bodies with something that even being some form of very strong boss, if you were to get that high, which I think is pretty cool. I picked this second class kind of just a fun fact. I used to be a professional wrestler, or do independent pro wrestling out in Chicago, and I came up with the deathmatch wrestler, subclass. I would recommend, if you have any interest in learning about it, it is a real thing. It's not for the faint of heart, but it's a pretty crazy thing that happens in bars and other places that you wouldn't expect. This is kind of a warrior subclass that is pretty similar to a warrior, similar to the luchador class. The only thing is that he has specialized weapons that he can use, and in addition to that, he can declare if he wants to do a deathmatch spot, which is part of the death die or deed die, which amplifies the damage that is dealt to the opponent by sacrificing his own health and well-being. I like this one a lot. I've played this one a little bit. I did a few test runs. It seems pretty fun, pretty balanced, and I'm hoping that some people pick this up and check it out, and kind of give me their thoughts as well. We have a bunch of bundle of light tubes that you break over your opponent's head, bundle them up and do even more damage, etc. Barbed wire baseball bats, chairs with thumbtacks, staple guns, and then finally the mother of them all, the weed whacker that you could use on your opponents. Like I said, this is not for the faint of heart, but I still think it's a pretty wacky and fun class that I think a lot of people would really enjoy playing. This one is the adventure, which is kind of a large encounter, which is essentially a real event that does and used to take place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, by a wrestling promotion called Combat Zone Wrestling. And what they would do is they would put two rings together and surround the ring with a steel cage and have a platform that spanned across the two rings above it, for people to get thrown off of and fall through tables and stuff. But it's a bunch of teams locked in a cage and they're fighting it out. So the party and the adventurers would be, one of the participants or the first participants in that team, and they just have to fight off waves of different wrestlers. So you go in, you meet the boss, and then there's like a giant set of rules that if you pick it up, or if you want to pause the screen and look at it, you could review them here. I didn't do a great job at drawing the map on this one. If we redo or do a re-up on this zine, then possibly we can edit this and update this a little bit to make it a little bit more palatable to everyone. But there's a bunch of different markings here that outline areas with the legend of what they do and what kind of conditions they meet on the map if you're standing by them at the judge's discretion. And then there's the different rounds, which I believe it goes through 4 rounds, which is enhancement jobbers first. Enhancement talent and wrestling are people that are kind of out there that are meant to be beaten. And that's the warm-up, and then you move to the mid-card guys. As you can see, I start getting a little bit more confident with my drawing skills as we move along. So it moves to the mid-card guys, subsequently goes to the main eventers, and then finally the wrestling promoter and his best guys come out, and you have to fight them. And then once you finish it, as a bonus to everyone, they're now allowed to use any of the weapons that are listed in the Deathmatch Wrestler class. Overall, I thought that this was pretty cool. I'm really happy and thankful to Goodman Games for giving me the opportunity to put this out there. And I'm really looking forward to other people's thoughts on it. Like I said, it is available below in drivethrurpg.com. We'll be releasing Volume 2 soon. Volume 2 is done, and it's being sent to Goodman Games right now. And we're currently in the process of doing the grand finale, which is Volume 3, the finale. And then we'll have some really cool new stuff after this Judge Phil's Zine of Goodies series is done. But anyways, that's all I got for you guys. I really appreciate you guys coming on and checking out Judge Phils ZINE of Goodies Volume 1 and Meridian Games. If you have any questions or comments, I'll actually leave an email in the description below. Feel free to shoot me a message. And I really appreciate everyone for coming along with myself and everyone else at Meridian on this journey. And we'll talk soon. Stay tuned.